It's disco time. Enjoy the video. At the beginning of this feature, because this footage is shot over many months, I might have had a tickly throat, so there's a little bit of coughing and hacking in there. Apologies for that. I tried to edit as much out as I possibly could. It happens. Thanks for all those that were concerned about my well-being. Yeah, the cough's gone now. Thank you very much. Enjoy the video. Right, wiper motors out. These are dead easy to get out. Two fixings on the inside of the boot, one big nut on the outside of the boot. Yeah, and it comes out. That's it. That's all that holds it in. Very easy to get out. Now, what typically happens with these is this shaft here, which runs through there, gets seized inside that. Absolutely solid. So all I tend to do here is take them apart. What I'll probably do is I need to get this bit off first and foremost, so just take a couple of pictures, its orientation, etc, 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 because it just makes life so much bloody easier when it comes to reassembling. Then what I'll also do is, if I were to scribe a line along here, then I know where that bracket needs to get back to. Make sense? Makes sense. Oh yes, it all makes sense. It rarely doesn't make sense. 10mm socket? Yes, we've still got it. Still got a 10mm socket. This bracket then should slide off, and that just makes life just a tinty bit easier. Now, I'll take there you can see the two nice telltale scratches on there. That's good, that'll do the job there. On the face here, you don't have anything particularly beefy holding this cover on. But when I take this off, this gives me access to the gearbox that runs from the armature with a worm gear on the end of it to a cog, and the gears that will turn the wiper back and forth. Excuse me. What we need is a screwdriver and this cover. These rarely put up a fight. Right, so having taken the cover off there, we can now see the worm gear that comes off the end of the armature. We've got the drive gear, and then we've got a cam which goes into this mechanism, goes through the shaft and rocks back and forth. Now this here, that piece there, if I remember rightly, is not actually attached to anything other than it just sits on the post in there. So by banging this through, I should be able to get the whole shaft out and off this piece here, which is what I'm going to do next. I'm going to obviously protect the end of this with a nut. I don't want to be fucking it up. There was also, if I remember rightly, there's a washer here. This washer here, it's like it locks onto the shaft. You can see there's a very slight taper on the shaft here, so that washer locks onto it. If we can get that off first and foremost, we might be able to get some lube down the shaft for now. And then we can tap that through. Right, so I popped a nut on there, mount it on the vise just so that everything then's got free fall through. A drift inside the nut on the top. There it goes. Like that. Now that shaft in there is absolutely and utterly seized in solid. But by doing it this way, I have managed to get this lock ring off. So we'll protect that. I'm going to need to continue. I'm going to put some release penetrant down the inside of there. Let's see if we can't get this to turn a bit better. But effectively, this should take this right off. I should be able to get this right out. that's coming out a lot easier than the last one did. Now there's also an O-ring up here as well. That's a very, very, very brittle O-ring. And here's the shaft, and there you can see all the rust on the end of it. That's what seizes them up. What I'll do in the meantime though is check the motor still works. I guess what we could do is we could just put power to the two terminals on the motor and see if it works. Now this motor is very similar to the motor that's used on the soft dash Range Rover. Let's put a bit of voltage into there. Now we're getting nothing out of that. We're getting nothing. Right, I connected it into the car, I was getting nothing. However, I think the switches in my car are fucked. This switch I bought in a box of Discovery switches, and so far out of that box I've got a clock which works, and I've now got a rear wiper switch which also works. Now, I did take the body off here. The body is dead easy to take off. The trick is that when you take the body off, you kind of need to hold the brush plate, which is these black tabs here and here. Just hold the brush plate in as you pull the armature off. Otherwise, the brush plate comes out, little springs and clips and so forth. They all fly all over the place. So that's back together, and what we need to do now is to see if it works. So let's get the battery on the bench. I'm not using power probe on this. I've just put a couple of wires to the back of the motor, and are we going to do anything? We are. So the motor now works. So, which is a good thing. So I'm going to go and plug this back into the car. I'm going to put this switch on the car. And we're going to see if it works. Now, if the switch doesn't work, the problem you've got is the electronics that control the wiper, the rear wiper, and also the headlight wash and the rear wash, I think. They all go through a multi-function unit which straps to the back of the fuse box underneath the driver's side of the dash. And they're notoriously fragile. And I suspect that if this was seized and someone left the rear wiper on, it might have overloaded that circuit, because there's no fuse for it to pop. It just pops the multifunction unit instead. Right, so here's the switch that was on the car, and it doesn't stay in a locked on position. It just flicks in and out. Now, when it comes to these sort of things, I don't think there's an awful lot you can do inside them. However, the bulb in there, don't chuck them out. Salvage that bulb first and foremost. Unobtainium now, and fiendishly expensive when you can find them. So, I put the other switch on, which goes on and off. So ignition on, and switch on, I can hear it. That's encouraging, isn't it? Right, let's put the cam and the shaft back in again. Still getting nothing out of the washer. You can sort that out afterwards. Ignition off. That is encouraging. Might fix something else on this. So on the back of this chappy, two connectors. Big connector up there, that's the park. A little connector down here, that's for the power that goes to the motor. That's off. Right, let's go and put the shaft back in. Let's lube up the shaft and shove it in the bush. Broken, Richard. You are broken. Doll. Right, so knackered switch. I might just try the washer switch that came in my box of bits. Right, now when it comes to these shafts, all I really do is just clean up the blown rust around the end here. The there'll be some solidified grease and shite, but most of that will actually be rust where it has blown. It's a case of filing that off. Once then the shaft goes into the collar nice and smoothly, you can hook it back up to the cam and we're away. Shaft is cleaned up nicely. Careful of the splines on the end there that the actual wiper arm goes onto, but most of this stuff came off quite easily. Then of course there's a nice bush down here which goes into that plastic housing there, and I'm going to clean the plastic housing out, lubricate everything up, put it back together again. Right, so I put the shaft back in, nicely lubed it up, make sure it knits and makes up with the cam, shove that all in. That then now sits there. Now interestingly, that's parked in the opposite direction to where it parked before. So let's put ignition on, check we haven't ballsed up the park mechanism. Ignition on and switch on. Right. I just think it hadn't parked before. It doesn't always park in the same place though. Yes it is, it's parking here. Oh, it's time for that to go back together again, isn't it? I think that's behaving itself. Let's turn the switch off, get it to park in its correct location. And then, yes, it's parked in the same place each time. Right, ignition off. Let's reassemble, put it back on the car. Wiper arm can go back on. I need to work out what on earth I've done with the wiper arm next. That'll be my $64 million question. Hopefully it's in the back here somewhere. Or I'll take it out and put it somewhere. I'll put it somewhere. It won't be far. It will be far. It'll be, you know, absolutely will have been taken up. But I'm sure we can find a wiper arm. Right, that comes off. That comes off. Everything's greasy now. Let's go and put the cover back on the gearbox, and then the bracket, which I still can see the telltales for, and it can go back in the car again. And I can work out what on earth I did with the wiper arm. You get these online, so there's a couple of companies that do these, but I found this one on eBay. I'm not a great fan of checker plate, but to be honest, it's a load area in a works vehicle. So from that perspective, I'm happy with it. The only thing it didn't come with was any of the fixing holes. So what I did is I put tape around the edge there, found where the original plug holes were, tape on here, mirrored that across, and then drilled every 4.5 to 5 inches all the way around to secure it. And the only problem I've got is drumming as I'm driving. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off and I'm going to stick a fucking great big piece of dynamite on the back of it, probably about there. I don't really want to drill more holes into the middle of it because that will look silly. It does mean I've got to take about 5,000 bloody tech screws out though, which is a shame, but never mind. Still a rattle there. It is a lot better. Might have to belt it with a mallet. Anti-roll bar bushes on my Discovery. They're not up to much, are they? that is proper shot. Now, on top of all that, we've then got Is that mud in there? That might just be mud in there. The joints themselves are... Let's go onto the tripod so that I can work two-handed. A tripod. Let's move the alternator out of the way. The joints themselves are not horrific. That one's worse than the other one. They do move in all orientations. I've got new joints anyway, so I buy these chappies, and that will go straight back on. The only thing that annoyed me about this, having bought these, they don't provide these with any of the fixings or the bushes, and I think that's pretty piss poor, I'll be honest. So I had to, I'm going to reuse the fixing. As you can see, it's got a castled nut and a roll bar goes on there. The main bolt isn't a problem, but then I bought main anti-roll bar bushes and the joint bushes, so they can go on. But I suspect that, I mean, look at the crap in there. It's entirely possible that this is where the squeak was coming from. And to those people who couldn't hear the squeak, I can definitely hear the squeak when I'm driving. And it's been getting louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. So, I think what I'll do with this one, that one has got a notch to it. There is a notch in there. So forget that one. And then this one, bush is in a similar state. Yeah, they're oval. So they're absolutely shot. This joint is more serviceable. So I might just keep that on the shelf just as an emergency spare, just in case I find myself in a position whereby I need a joint and I haven't got one. But shouldn't really say that, should I? I never need a joint. Don't do that. They can go in the bin. And then when it comes to the anti-roll bar itself, these main bushes on here, I'm going to replace those as well. I've just degreased it because it was covered in engine oil from the back of the car. So that's just getting it degreased, and I can lob it all back together again. They're not difficult to get off, these things. This isn't an instructional video, this is more about dealing with a 30-year-old Discovery 1 300 series. I'm not doing a video on that, that's been a ball take though. Oh my god. Anyone ever asked you to change the bypass pipe on one of these? It runs down the back of the engine, and it's the same engine I think as a BMW 1 Series, Peugeot 207, blah de blah de blah, 1.6 petrol. There's a bypass pipe that runs from the back of the water pump to the thermostat housing, and they break, and it has been an absolute bastard. But anyway, it's all apart now, I've ordered the bits. So these bushes here, that's the anti-roll bar bush. You see it's got a nice split on it, so I can pop that on, and then these bushes here go into those, so it can all go back together again. Oh yes, that's absolutely fucked as well. That should be round. Anyway, I've got new bushes going on there. These are standard rubber bushes because I'm trying to not keep costs down, but just prove where the problem lies. And if they go again, if these bushes go again in a relatively short space of time, I'll replace them with poly. But we'll see how they last. Oh dear, it's another one of my... Oh dear, it's another one of my warning videos. Right, Richard, what have you done? Right, well, this one relates to pretty much anything with the 4-bolt steering box, power steering box. So it'll be Range Rover Classics, Discovery 200 series and Discovery 300 series, both Discovery 1s. Probably a few Defenders thrown in there as well. Now, we all like a nice straight steering wheel, don't we? Yeah? And when you're driving along on a nice straight road, you think, yeah, your steering wheel's dead straight, that's fantastic. And I know the Land Rover badge is missing in there. So you think, oh, that's fantastic. And I know it's dusty too. Then, over the last week or so, occasionally the steering's been like that. And then it'll be like that. And then yesterday it did that. And then towards the end of yesterday it did that. And I thought, well, that's weird. And then when I parked up, it was back to that again, as I was driving in a straight ahead position. So all of these wheel positions were in the straight ahead position. Now there's a clue here. This is your warning. Okay, so naturally I was cautious. So I went over it, checked everything out, checked steering ball joints, checked intermediate arm in the engine bay, checked the steering column in here. Couldn't see anything that was obviously wrong with it. And then last night I pulled into the shop just outside my unit because I was going to get myself a beer. And as I pulled in, well, the steering died. Steering died? Yep. What's actually happened here is, well, the shaft's dropped out the bottom of the steering box. Has anyone ever seen that? Well, you have now. So I think if you are experiencing those kind of haunted steering wheel symptoms, I would recommend in the strongest possible terms you stop. Because had this occurred, I think, at a faster speed, it might have been a problem. As it turned out, I was doing less than 2 miles an hour, and I had just come off a full lock, a full which direction? A full right lock to get into the car park. Up until this point, there's been no rattles, no clonks. The steering's been precise. It's been, well, as precise as you're going to get on a Land Rover. There's been nothing particularly wrong with it. Right, well, further to that little snippet that you just watched, box is out. They're not difficult to get out. And root cause, as I expected, was broken shaft. So I went to all the effort, ordered another box from Famous For, which has just arrived. You've got to be fucking joking me. You have got to be kidding. So I've just been on to them. Yeah, they can replace it. I've got to buy another one, then they'll refund me this one when I get it back. And I can't get it till Monday. This is me dead shaft. I need to get this off the shaft. The shaft is scrap, but I need the arm because that needs to go back onto the car again. I'm going to use a pitman puller to get that off. But what I wanted to see was, had anyone been here before? Has this box been replaced before? And looking at this washer, does it look like it has had... So I'm just doing a bit of kind of diagnostics here, seeing if this is some ham-fisted givenry. Yeah, I suspect this is this nut's been off here before. It's been done quite tightly, but it's not a factory kind of not a factory job. So I need to get me coffee out of the way. I need to get the tabs back on this, which is a moderately easy thing to do. You can find Mr. Tappy. Oh. Mr. Tappy. And we're going to be able to do this. If I put the shaft in the vise, the shaft is dead anyway. Shaft's going to go into the Black Museum of scary shit that I found. Right, there goes the lock washer. That's good. And a hulking great big socket. And a hulking great big Mr. Dugout is what we need. So socket size is, I can go back in there. Got to wait till Monday. Very bloody 32. No, bigger than 32. It's irritating, isn't it? Right, I've got a 36. I've got a deep 36. No, it's not 36, 35, isn't it? Or 34. 34. That'll do it. 34 millimetres. Go get Mr. Dougie. Now, normally I don't do these with a breaker bar because Mr. Dougie can put a little bit of extra force into the shaft, which you might not necessarily want. And given the nature of this breakage, I wouldn't necessarily, if that shaft was good, I wouldn't be using a dugger. I would use a breaker bar on it. It started to undo, then it came out the vice. Let's just see if we can trap that a bit tighter. Right, he's off. Right, now rather than just muller the shaft out of the cross shaft, I'm inclined to use my pitman puller, which I'll go and get. Right, so Mr. Pitman goes on. I'm not particularly bothered about the thread on the shaft because it's fucked anyway. There is a hole for that. I don't even know why you did that, Richard. Helpfully positioned. Do we position that in there like that? I think we probably do, actually. We hold the shaft solid. Then, because what I don't want to do, you see, is have this thing flying around. Now, what size is that socket? That'd be a big bugger, wouldn't it? That one looks like it's 30mm. Now, sometimes these do need a bit of force to get them off. I've done it with a breaker bar before now, and all I do is I load it up and then belt the crap out of that with a big old hammer. But it is coming off, I think. Having done that much, let's get Mr. Tappy. There we are, like that. You see, so once you put a bit of tension on it and you tap on there, they normally pop off. That's good to go. Oh! That's going in the Black Museum. Fuck's sake, eh? It's almost like there's a casting fault. See the dark area there? I wonder if it's a casting fault. Because I'd imagine these are cast. Someone that's into metal will be able to let me know if that's cast or not, and if that's a casting fault. But that dark spot on there would suggest to me that there might have been the root cause of the problem, in which case this is a problem that's been kicking around for a very long time. It's also, this whole face here is very smooth. So it might have been that actually failed first, and then that was the final point. I don't know. Let's have some feedback on what caused this shaft to fail. Now, luckily, as a lot of people have pointed out, I was doing about 3 miles an hour in a car park. I couldn't have told you if that would have failed on the motorway or not. It's, as I mentioned on the video earlier on, I had just come off a full right lock. And was straightening the steering back up again and starting to turn again towards the right, when I just suddenly, the steering went really, really light, and I thought, that's unusual. Then I realised that the car wasn't actually turning, wasn't responding to the steering. It's quite scary, really, isn't it? Right, that can go on to the new box when I get a new box that's suitable for me to put on the car. Right up until that point, it's not happening. Right, well, in my stash I found a packet of steering box washers. See if they are the same. Oh yes. Right, that's good news. So I've got the washer. They can go back in. So these are Sierra Tango Charlie 874 for a washer. Obviously that's a pack of 5. You might have to buy them in packs of 5, I couldn't tell you. And I found a nut, which is the same diameter and slightly thinner than the original nut. But it goes on to the thread. I'm inclined to use the new nut. New nut looks like NT 614 NT614-041L. So it's NT614-041L. That'll do, won't it? So they can go in the bag to go back on. I mean, the only reason I'm kind of rejecting this is purely because the dugger gun did struggle a bit, didn't it, to get it off, to pull it off. The dugger gun struggled to pull it off. Right, what I will do is I'll need to take this socket. See, the nut is smaller. I've got a 33mm socket. So I shall use that. I shall put these two sockets in just in case I end up, for any reason, reusing the old nut, because I'm doing this job at home rather than in my yard. Because my yard is currently full of cars, which I'm trying to sort out. Okay, that's good news. Put the knife away before I slice myself open with it. Finish my coffee off. Get out of here. It's Friday. Sorry, Saturday. It's 5:10. I don't know if you can see that in there. So we've got the ram on the side of the steering column, which you can see 2/3 of through the hole there. And the box or the shaft is more or less broken, level with the ram. It's not great, is it? That's really not good. And the more I look at the shaft, the more this is a casting issue. You see the dark patch on there? I just think that's casting. Scary shit, huh? Anyway, car's back on the road again. Just before the end credits, give me a thumbs up if you liked that. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. Mind you, you've got all the way to the end of it, so you probably would have given me a thumbs down by now anyway. Comments down below. All of these things do help to promote the work that I do and promote to YouTube for your benefit. If you want to contact me, churchhouseclassics, it's all one word, @gmail.com. And if you want to support the channel, then there's a PayPal me link scrolling down here. Both my email and the PayPal me link are in the description below this video. And that's my car, still sitting here. I might have to change this feature once it gets back on the road. It'll embarrass me enough into getting this back on the road. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.